Drink beer. Think beer. You're listening to Brew Bloods.
Episode 118 of Brew Bloods. We are back from vacation and work and vacation and gambling and vacation.
Or kind of a mix of all the above.
Work, vacation, workation.
Yeah, workation, yeah.
Yeah, so like the opposite of a staycation, it's a workation because you go somewhere else just to work.
Exactly.
But you're not in your house, so it's kind of a vacation.
But you're staying there, too. So it's a stay-there-cation.
That's right. It's a stay-there-cation. It's a motel-cation.
Right.
I stayed in, I was in Temecula and Newport Beach, California, and I worked the entire time I was there, half days the entire time. You went to Vegas.
Went to a conference the entire time.
Yeah.
So it was actually 4 of the 5 days I was there. I was at a conference, so yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's not quite like work, but it's similar.
Yeah, but you have to put in employment time, so it kind of sucks.
Exactly.
You can't be the freewheeling whale that you usually are.
For once, we actually didn't go to the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We do separate on occasion.
Yeah, maybe next year we can go. Maybe we can go to New Orleans again.
Exactly.
Have some time, some special time.
We'll have some time, yes.
So this episode today is I went to Newport Beach, California, and out in that area, in the Orange County area, there's a brewery called Gunwhale Ales. And these guys specialize in, they do a lot of beer, they have a very diverse portfolio, but they tend to specialize in a lot of IPAs and Saisons and some wild ales. And
that's cool. Kind of like we talked about before. It's nice to specialize in a couple styles and not try to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, and they say they specialize in coastal ales, which JT and Bobby will get into in that interview. I asked them what exactly coastal ale is.
No, you're on first name basis with these guys now.
I am. I did not refer to
you guys are brothers.
The last name. We are brothers. Yeah, we cut our palms open and swap spit.
Exactly.
And
you didn't really have to cut the palms open to do that. But
No, we
just did that as an extra.
I mashed my bloody palm into their mouths.
Oh, okay.
That was an integral part of the interview.
So they put spit on your blood. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And which had a big old makeout session to certify the bond.
That sounds hot.
And then there were other things that happened that we won't talk about. This is family safe. Pod waves here. We can't talk about that, but
we won't even imply it.
We won't. No,
any more than we already.
We won't imply how violent and sexual it was.
Right.
Won't even bother to imply that. But no, JT and Bobby, they are 2 of the 3 owners at Gunwhale Ales and out in Orange County. I highly recommend it. They're actually in a nice little sweet spot where they were the second brewery in that area, in this little neighborhood they're in. And there are 2 more breweries coming online in the next couple months. And I asked them a little bit about that, about, being so close to competition, how that is.
Sure.
And so they could have a really nice little brewing neighborhood there in Orange County, like 4 breweries right there. Maybe there's another one coming along. They got a couple of restaurants in the area. It's kind of cool because they're all in walking distance. So
that's nice.
That was really nice. And after we went there, we went across the street to this other brewery. And then this is my future brother-in-law. And then we took an Uber to Bottle Logic, which was awesome. But they were slammed, man. They were absolutely slammed. So then we went to Green Cheek Beer Company, which is a fairly new brewery in the Orange County area.
It's an interesting sounding name.
Yeah, it's apparently they're right next to in Anaheim. They're in Anaheim, right next to the Angels Stadium, the baseball sports team.
Oh, okay.
Of the area. Apparently they're a popular destination before and after the game. And we got there apparently right before the pregame crowd, or right as the pregame crowd showed up. And they had a milkshake IPA, which I'd never had before. I'd heard about it, didn't exactly understand what it was.
It brought you to the yard, though.
It did. I got out there and, it brought me to the yard, and then I brought all the boys to the yard.
Exactly.
But it was a really interesting flavor palette. I'd heard of it, but
it sounds
again, nobody makes one locally.
Yeah, and normally, if you think of milkshake and alcohol, you think of like an alcoholic milkshake, not a milkshake IPA that would have a profile of a milkshake in an IPA form.
It's interesting. It wasn't extremely bitter. It was actually fairly sweet, really malty, and really thick, like a milkshake.
Oh, okay.
Had about the consistency of like some dirty lake water as far as appearance goes.
Like that stuff you used to stir as a kid?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was good. It was
tastier than that, I would hope.
If you get out to Green Cheek, I highly recommend that milkshake IPA. Today we're drinking the Old Rackety from Gunwhale. It is one of their Saisons. This is a smoky Saison. I know you're a big fan of smoke, so what do you think about their Saison?
So far, I've liked it. It's smoky, but it's not exceptionally smoky. It's just enough to add a little extra something to the regular Saison flavors.
It's not like the stone smoked porter.
No, it's nothing like it's nothing like that.
Or that Jester King we had one time that they did the collaboration with that barbecue joint, and it was like drinking meat.
That was nasty.
That was
actually,
nasty.
but no, this is actually pretty good. It's a normal Saison profile, I would say, with some smoky flavor on top of it.
They do a lot of cool stuff at that brewery.
Well, and it tastes like real smoke. It doesn't taste like liquid smoke or something.
Yeah.
It actually tastes authentic.
It tastes like actual wood chips that are burning in your face.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And
it's like a little wood chip fire at the bottom of the glass.
As a present to you, I've got their West Coast IPA.
Oh, thank you.
I forget the name of it now. And then we've got a coffee porter that I can stand off the tap. It was definitely a runner for Founders Breakfast Stout. So
interesting. Okay.
Felt like drinking the Saison today, but I highly recommend, if you get a chance, go to Gunwhale Ales in Orange County, California, if you get a chance, and follow up with maybe go to Bottle Logic, maybe go to Green Cheek, make a few stops. Highly recommend. Bottle Logic is elbow to ass cheek. It is. The day we went on Saturday, it was packed, and they don't have a big space, so just be prepared for that. Green Cheek, they had don't go during a foosball game time. Just don't go outside that time. Yeah, because they were packed awesome. We stood in line for probably 30 minutes. But
was that during a baseball game?
It was before a baseball game. They're a big scene for the before and after baseball crowd. So
okay, I thought baseball season was over when you went, but okay,
apparently not.
Okay, maybe at least like it's playoff time or something.
Maybe they were in the playoffs. I don't know, but apparently there was a game happening.
I think the Dodgers are in the playoffs, but
sure.
Anyway,
all the old Brooklyn Dodgers. Yes, absolutely,
exactly.
So anyway,
of Los Angeles.
Here is JT and Bobby from Gunwhale Ales.
Not Justin Timberlake.
No. So today we're joined by JT and Bobby from Gunwhale Ales. As I was saying before I was not recording, there's very little branding that's better than the West Coast IPA, and you guys say you specialize in the coastal ale. So what exactly is a coastal ale?
Yeah, that's basically our way of kind of describing the focus that we have, which is both on the hoppy side of things, as well as kind of a farmhouse tradition beers. And we're basically, obviously we're in kind of an urban building in an area that is, in a coastal area.
Yeah.
We grew up here. We feel like what we're trying to do is authentic, basically expression of who we are and what we want to make. And so that's our way of describing something that is not 100% Belgian, even though that we try to do the traditional, farmhouse brewing. Mm-hmm. But also it's not, I would say...
it's a hybrid, right?
We make hybrid styles, but we're also we're not actually on a farmhouse.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. It would be awesome, but it just doesn't exist right here.
Totally, and we've seen like other other brands, like say even Hill Farmstead, who has chosen to call their beers Farmstead beers, and has trademarked that sort of thing. So we are looking to kind of describe what we're doing in a different way, basically.
Are you going to trademark coastal ales?
If we can, we're definitely. That was the point. We've been using it for a long time,
right?
Going through that process is its own journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at a minimum, it's how we describe it. Because we feel like it fits and it tells the story that we're trying to tell.
So, what do you think defines California beer in general? I mean, it's obviously a gigantic state, but what do you think defines California beer?
I think it's all over the place. For me, West Coast, at least Southern California beer, I feel is more sessionable, more just easy drinking. The weather's almost always beautiful,
right.
So it's just you're sitting outside. You want something that you can just drink all the time.
Yeah,
to me, but
I'd say the same. I mean, hops obviously takes a huge role in it, and whether that's unfortunate or to the degree that it inhibits the production of other things that people probably should be trying to explore as well. But we've seen a lot of that. We've seen people explore differences in IPAs, and we've seen people explore a lot of sour stuff lately, and
I think it's kind of cutting edge. I mean, they're trying to find the next thing and the next thing. So I think you're finding in California, you're finding a lot of the new thing that's going to.
For the most part, it's a high quality beer. Too. There's a lot of, because there's so much competition, that there's still people making bad beer out there. But for the most part, like, you have to kind of come strong with your game, because you're not the only guy in town. Yeah.
Well, that was one of my questions. Is like, California is obviously a really mature beer scene, and I'm from Texas, and it's kind of in its infancy, a toddler in a lot of ways. We're kind of late to the game, craft beer wise. How hard is it to stand out? You guys, I know you got. You were telling me earlier, the OC Weekly said you're one of the top 5 breweries in the area. I know you've won some other awards. How hard is it to stand out in such a mature beer scene? And what does it take to stand out? Other than just good beer.
Good beer, good branding, being like cohesive.
Yeah.
Having everything kind of match up, not just hitting one part of it, just having the whole thing match. Yeah,
you guys seem to do like more. It seems like you're venturing more towards the farmhouse style. So, and I've seen a lot of breweries that are kind of pulling back from making a beer for everyone, like a beer style for every person, and they're kind of starting to concentrate more, maybe just on one style. How important is that here in California?
I don't know that everyone's doing it yet. We're very young, so we're kind of like humbled by the response that we're getting to what we're doing.
Yeah.
We, very much when we came into this thing, we thought, we wouldn't be surprised if we had 4 saisons and 4 IPAs on our board at any given time. So that was like our MO in a way. That's what we wanted to drink, the styles we liked most. We also thought that there was major demand for one and growing interest in another.
Yeah.
And a place that we could kind of capture attention around that. But for us, we thought it would be much easier for people to turn around and relate, say, hey, you got to go over there and check out what Gunwhale's doing because they do this. And if like JT said, if what you're doing is cohesive and it makes sense and it feels right as a easy translatable thing, then people can spread the word of mouth to you. We're very small and don't have a budget to like sound the horns, so we need people to say, hey, I went over there and I liked it, and you should go check it out too.
It's not a small investment to start a brewery. It's did you guys do private funding or did you take out loans?
Basically private funding.
Yeah, that's
we scratched grandma and grandpa's couch cushions.
Yeah. A lot of credit card funding, or
unfortunately, we don't have too much debt or anything like that.
That's
but
good.
we did go to like friends and family.
Yeah,
we capitalized very small compared to other breweries.
Yeah,
a lot of sweat equity.
Yeah,
I think that's good though, because especially the market we're seeing, where it seems like beer sales overall are kind of on the decline a little bit. Yeah. Although craft beer is doing better than macro beer.
Yeah,
it's good when you're running kind of more of a slim operation, and you can see it here. Bobby was telling me earlier, you guys pretty much built everything here yourselves, be either reclaimed products or whatever, which is awesome. And we've seen that in Dallas. Some of the newer guys and the ones that are doing really well are the ones that are running a very slim operation, mostly debt free, because you never know what's around the corner. Sales wise, and if you can manage to survive the slim times, you can like hold out and do really well for yourselves.
You can have your tap room kind of just hold you off.
Yeah,
then it's fine.
We some people or maybe your listeners are not super familiar, but one of the things that we decided to do was to do some of our work production off-site. And so we actually did not build a small brew house, which is really all the money we would have had. Or really all we could have afforded. We knew we would outgrow that pretty quickly, so we fended it off and are trying to do. We looked at the industry and try to find like basically resources that were untapped.
Yeah.
Which one of them was capacity, and we're just trying to basically make just a little bit less beer than the demand is always there for, versus having pallets waiting outside going, who's going to buy this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had to brew 30 barrels because we bought a 30-barrel system and capitalized at that.
Yeah.
Someone told us we need $3 million to do this. And to be honest, like, the cool part is you don't. You know what I mean? It's a hustle, though. You got to sell your beer and you got to make a product in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, our batch size, the IPAs are lasting roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks, it seems like. The Saisons, 3 to 4 weeks between new batches, so it's just incredible how fast everything is going.
Yeah.
And how fresh everything is.
Yeah, that's the good news for the drinkers. You're always getting fresh beer, and people may not even realize how much that makes a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go into a place and that beer's been sitting on for 2 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, even the bars are getting it. I mean, the bars are getting those kegs that we're just bringing out.
Yeah, which is the best representation you can hope for.
Bars are getting
the most fresh.
day-old IPA. And
and everybody's happy, that way. So.
Yeah. What's as far as the drinking community here, like one thing we've noticed lately in our local community in Dallas is that people are getting really vile and very dismissive of brewing, and I'm not familiar with the California scene at all as far as a fan standpoint. So as far as fan support goes, like we've seen a lot of to me the most insulting comment is someone takes one sip and says it's a drain pour. It's incredibly dismissive of the people and the hard work that goes into that making that beer. And I think most breweries, the people working there, are proud of what they're doing. They're doing their best job. Obviously, not every beer is going to be a home run, right? I mean, it's true of anything in art, from food to visual art or whatever. Not everything's going to be a home run, but how is the drinking community here in Orange County, California? It seems like it's been pretty supportive so far.
Yeah.
It's been supportive of us. I think, the thing is we've dumped batches, you have to be willing as a brewery to dump it if it's not good, you know what I mean? So you may feel like, that's batch one and I know some tweaks I want to put on it in the next batch. This is a good beer, but it's not world class yet.
Yeah.
So we've had to do that, but at the same time, you can't put out poor quality, you know what I mean? You got to be able to stand behind what you're serving. There's also in some cases ignorance on the customer's part to just be immediately dismissive, and not to recognize the time it takes, to put in that.
It's really frustrating.
Everyone has different
palates,
what they like,
sure.
And if it's not for them, it's not for them.
Yeah, I know.
We have people
you gotta let stuff roll off your back. It is what
you got to develop a thick skin, I would imagine.
We have people come in and they come in and then they'll say 1 star. I came in there, all there was is an IPA and stays on the board. It's like, well, bro, all you had to do was read the website first.
Yeah.
So
kind of what we do. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we make. I'm sorry, we didn't have everything you could possibly want. But.
Yeah. I get really increasingly frustrated by those comments. Yeah. There's a Facebook group in Dallas that people tend to post that stuff, and it's just like, and I know because I've talked to the brewers in Dallas, and they're reading that stuff, and the amount of frustration they have around that. You're going to get criticism like any creative field, but I just know how frustrated they get by those comments. It's like drain pour. It's like,
well, it's an artistic endeavor in a way. It's culinary art, and
sure.
In a way, and so people can take it personally. I for sure they can see that,
Yeah.
But they might not always be wrong, If there's someone has an off flavor,
then it should be great for it.
Oh, sure, of course. But to just instantly, we saw one of the guys who we interviewed recently, Franconia. He's a traditional German brewer. He's from Germany, and he mostly adheres to the purity laws. And somebody said about somebody posted on there about their local. It was a growler place, and they're like, "Well, if they carry Franconia, they're a terrible growler shop." And I'm like, really? Because they carry a beer, you're going to tell them their shop is terrible. It's just I don't know. Yeah. It's got to be hard, I guess. I mean, the criticisms we get for this show, like we pronounce something incorrectly or something, it's like, I don't know. The internet is a wretched hive of scum and villainy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think breweries can give a little leeway to the customers and not take things personally.
Yeah.
And the customer should do the same.
Yeah.
If you're trying to support the local guy and you want there to be good beer, you got to support them and give them leeway. And I think it's smart for a customer to always we'd be happy to get a note from somebody in a much more private way and say, hey man, I'd like to talk to you about that beer, or I noticed this or that, or this was different from this batch to that batch, and get it in a more private way, and we could address it versus the people that are essentially trying to do harm in a public forum, because they think that they are trying to prove something to other people.
Yeah.
How much I know about beer or whatever. What I mean? So,
they're trying to make themselves feel better, I think, in a lot of ways.
But I think breweries would be very open to the idea of receiving the, messages and engage their customers in a real way.
Yeah. I guess you're always accessible is both good and bad in situations like Untapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both good and bad. So, mentioned your origin story. So, you guys were missing one of you guys, three
Justin.
founders.
Yeah.
Justin, you guys all have very diverse backgrounds. So, I'm interested in like what did you do before brewing, and how did you? Well, I guess when did you know it was the right time to make a brewery? I know you're all home brewers also.
Yeah.
And how hard was it to make that leap?
I was in a couple different backgrounds, manufacturing background for a while.
In this building, actually.
Yeah.
In the same building?
Yeah.
What were you making before here?
Rims.
Okay.
Wheels.
Cars. Yeah. Did that for a while. Did construction for quite a while after that. Contracting.
Woodworking.
Yeah, woodworking. All kinds of, basically all around the board, just working with my hands and doing that.
JT's super technical, like with the ingenuity and can pretty much put anything together.
So you're the Mr. Fix-It of the operation?
Studying it, mechanical engineering in college. Yeah. So this had that kind of background.
Yeah.
Basically just homebrewing, and we always wanted to do something ourselves. My dad had his own business.
Yeah.
So I saw the benefits of having your own business, not working for someone.
Justin and JT were best buddies, kind of growing up too. So.
Known Justin since preschool.
Wow.
Pretty much. So, to start homebrewing and just like learning about the industry too.
Yeah.
And the industry is amazing. How much collaboration goes on, how much they help each other. Just a fun industry to work in.
Yeah.
Every other industry I've been in, you hide everything. You don't work with anyone. You keep your secrets and all that.
Right.
So super refreshing. And then it was like, okay, how can we make this happen?
Yeah.
And did everything we possibly could to make it happen.
So, Bobby, how did you meet these two?
Yeah, so Justin is a chef too. Just make that point. That's what he did before. So he was doing stuff in the food and beverage world, and not only making food, but doing beer dinners with breweries, local breweries, and things like that. And so he was involved in that and home brewing. And they him and JT bought a pilot, basically what is now our pilot system.
Yeah.
Kind of for the project. I happen to be actually from San Diego, and initially my wife and Justin's wife were friends working together. So that's how we met, and we both were, I kind of got along with him because we were both chasing saisons, 10 years ago when like no one else was really thinking about how to find these, obscure Belgian saisons or whatever.
Right.
So, and then I was homebrewing down there, and then the three of us all just became buddies, and when they said they bought that pilot system, wanted to do the brewery, I was like, count me in. I want to do this, and my background is in art, really. I'm a traditional fine artist. I studied sculpture and painting, and went. I went to Europe in the '90s to kind of study art, and even before I was 21, that was like my big aha thing, was to go into like this pub culture of Europe. And before I even could order a beer in America, and it wasn't just like Budweiser. It was like we have ESBs, and we have Czech Pils, and we have Irish Stouts, and I was like, man, I can order whatever I want. This is crazy. I haven't even beer was not this diverse back in the States in the '90s. So anyway, that kind of was a wild time, and kind of piqued my interest in it. And then I came back to San Diego, and things started really happening there. And with the big, Stone and Green Flash and Ballast Point and all those breweries.
So how do you compare the craft beer scene here in the United States now? So have you been to Europe recently, and to compare the two again, or?
I was there a couple months ago. Yeah. It's blowing up over there now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to travel a lot over there. My dad had an antique business, and he had imported Italian antiques, so I spent a lot of time over there growing up and stuff, and I was really surprised when I just went. Yeah. Craft breweries popping up everywhere, doing the same kind of stuff we're doing. This very small.
A lot of them very small. Artisan.
Yeah, very small. Yeah. And but kind of taking them to the next level almost. Like they're bottling, they're using like the best bottles they can get, Where a lot of places around here will go with the cheapest, but just because okay, we got to cut costs.
Sure.
It's cool though.
It seems like we're finally pushing back. Like we obviously we learned a lot from Europe.
Yeah.
And I think we're finally maybe some of our knowledge is coming back the other way. Which is good to see.
It's going back that way. They're trying to do the more hoppy beers. They're not there yet.
Yeah.
I tried quite a few. But it's going to get there, and it's blowing up, and it was pretty exciting to see, like, oh my gosh, there's all these little craft breweries over there.
Yeah, I imagine Stone Berlin's probably going to help things quite a bit over there.
Yeah, sure, it's going to be disruptive for sure.
Yeah,
I'm really impressed with Belgium obviously it's its own place and has been obviously a big influence on some of the styles we're making, but also like what the Italian farmhouse scene is going, the kind of beers that are being made there. Really culinary driven is really exciting and definitely influences things in a way. Most people don't think of Italy as like a big beer country. They really think of it as really a wine zone. But there's places that are, Copenhagen and other places have big beer scenes and have a lot of breweries doing some interesting stuff. Britain has a very cool scene happening.
Yeah, they're having a tough time over there because so many macro beer chains own the pubs, so it's hard for the little guys to get in.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean they're making progress, but it's not quite as free and open as it is here or some other countries in like Copenhagen. Yeah. So I'm curious, like, is it the three of you being co-founders? You all have very distinct jobs within the brewery itself, but who makes you also have a head brewer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So who makes the brewing recipe decisions, and like how do you decide? Like, this is what we want to make, and then final decision, like, is there all consensus about, yes, this beer is good, this beer is bad, or is it somebody has the final executive decision? How does that work?
I think we all decide what we want to make.
Yeah.
That's like a direction of it.
Yeah, we have a beer meeting.
Yeah.
We all, the next beer, we have our regular beers, of course.
Sure.
And then we're like, okay, the next beer we want to make is going to be this. And then Kevin, head brewer, will come up with a recipe, and then we'll have another meeting, and he'll explain what it'll be like.
Right.
And then we're like, yeah, that sounds great, or let's tweak this, or let's change this.
Yeah.
He'll do that, and then he's pretty much hitting them on right away. So we'll brew it, and then after we brew it and try that, we'll try it.
We kind of log. Yeah,
tweaks.
we can basically taste and kind of log. If there's any things we wanted to make different on another batch or whatever.
Yeah. Is it ever like a too many cooks in the kitchen situation? Pretty even-handed?
I don't think so.
Not really. I think that was one of the things about our partnership was that, Justin was really kind of coming from like food and service and things like that, and I'm coming from like more of art, design, branding, packaging. I do like all the marketing, sales stuff, and then JT is really on the technical side for production. So we don't. We all take part because we're so young and a little bit what everyone's doing. But for the most part, we have our areas and we're not overlapping that much.
Yeah.
And Kevin is such a solid brewer. He came from the. Was at the brewery for the longest period of his career. So he's established and knows what he's doing, and we can give a lot of trust in that. So I think it allows us to each to kind of play in our own area, and then we triangulated it really around the things that the business needed to do, how we would run it, and how we would grow it from the very beginning. If you had three guys that all brewed, then you'd be in a problem.
Right, exactly.
But
I think even if it's not like a style that one of us loves, we respect what it's supposed to be like.
Sure.
And that's it. That doesn't have any off flavors. That hits guidelines.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
We're trying to tell a story, and in the end, like we really do think about like what the customer's experiencing, and a little earlier we tasted like, and kind of a more herbal saison that's coming out. That was a place we thought we hadn't really touched on too much yet. It was to like play with herbs, fresh, kind of a fresh herb beer. So we want like a kind of unraveling or like a reveal of over time of what we want the brand to say, and what storylines we're trying to express to people, because beer has been like so much surrounded by just the same generic styles, and we really want to like tell more about like seasonality and different flavor profiles. Might be herbal, it might be botanical, it might be roast, it might be smoke, it might be and we really want to kind of like express those and help educate our customers to what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can find out what they like. And hopefully they remember us in the process of like a brewery that was trying to help teach them and help show them stuff. And
it seems like you like, just judging by your, the brewery itself and looking around the stuff you got here, like you have a good respect for history, for not just California history, but history in general. Yeah. But a lot of it is centered around local history. I mean, you've got nautical stuff all over the place. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how does that influence your beer?
Even the beer names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bobby basically comes up with all the beer names.
Yeah.
And then we fight over it.
He researches a lot of stuff local, and if we can find something local that correlates with it, we go for it. Like Major Domo was an old house in Costa Mesa, historical house.
It was a local, like, basically a ranch house for one of the herdsmen that kind of in the ranch community here.
Yeah.
We had a beer on Shellmaker. It was an island in the back bay. Like, we really try to, if there's a way to tie in anything local, we want to.
A lot of farmhouse brewing is about the terroir,
right?
About expressing a sense of place.
Yeah.
So we're exploring and building up house cultures, and we've captured native yeast, Brett, local Brett stuff off fruit skins, and there's stuff that takes time to develop, and we're getting to that story.
There was a park by my house, and we got some native yeast from it, and it's developing real nicely. So hopefully we can get that going. That herbal saison you tried earlier, we foraged the fennel from local. This basically there's a little outdoor ranch kind of park, and tons of wild fennel growing. So just foraged it there.
That's cool.
We're gonna try to do a lot of that kind of stuff coming up. A whole series of it, basically, of all forage stuff, seaweed, just everything we can, be creative with.
We did the oyster stout. That was kind of a coastal thing,
What's the craziest thing you've tried so far?
What's that?
What's the craziest thing you've tried so far? Maybe the craziest ingredient you've tried. Because oyster stouts aren't. I mean, they're common, but they're
classic.
A lot of people don't. They're still not a common style, but I would say
it's more of an East Coast.
It's been done
East
before.
Coast common.
Yeah. But fennel. I mean, that's. I mean, in Farro, you guys having some of your beers now. So you done anything like absolutely crazy that?
No, I don't think.
It's not necessarily like we're trying to do stuff just to be extreme. It's just more about, hey, this would be interesting. This is something that hasn't been explored at depth, and it's something we've eaten or tried, or we think that it works with the story.
I don't think we're about the shock factor.
Yeah,
we're about how can this work with this beer.
Yeah,
and even when we put it in there, it's subtle. It's in the background. It's not in your face.
It's more about balance, it seems.
It's all balance. We really try to make balanced, sessionable beers. I mean, it's not. We don't want anything. I mean, we'll probably do a couple that'll be a little more intense, but for the most part, we want to use the herbs or spices to just complement and accent it, not just blow it in your face.
How much does Justin, being a former chef, how much is his executive training and being a professional chef, how much does that play into that?
Yeah, well, he knows flavor combinations. Yeah. And like, that'll pair well.
The Farro was something in our old Rackety saison was a product he had used previously in cooking. So there definitely have been influences, that he has pulled.
And Major Domo.
Major Domo. We roast lemon peels for that beer. So there's definitely like the processing of, in a lot of cases, whatever that food product is, or whether it's an herb or.
Yeah. Well, he did that technique. He did that technique in a salad dressing. So
interesting.
It like correlated. He's like, "Hey, this really works good in this. Let's try it in this," and it worked. So he definitely has doing that. And then
we want like the influence of that, and we hope to do more. Definitely like start to show up on the scene as someone who's pushing like the food along with beer, because we're really into food, and JT's like a front yard gardener or front yard farmer or whatever, growing all his own stuff. And we want it to be, something that's a part of our brand. I'm a Cicerone as well. And so it's like, just as far as the service and the pairing of things and the expressing combinations that go beyond like the beer itself to new flavors and stuff is definitely cool.
Yeah, I would say Air Bowl is definitely a big component. It made me think about him being a executive pizza chef when he was at Pizza Ortica, I guess it was. Ortica, however you say it. Yeah, sorry, not familiar with the place, but kind of reminded me of that. I was like, I wonder how much, because it kind of reminds me of like a really, really good fresh pizza crust. A lot of these, like I think I'm drinking Rodeo Flip right now. Kind of what it reminds me of. It's like a really light herbal dough, which is really nice.
He was managing at the restaurant. He had like a 200-year-old Biga yeast starter, that was, so he had a background in kind of like really managing a yeast that was important for flavor. And, crust is definitely like a very much a malt characteristic in beer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Such a huge part of pizza that people overlooked.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing, you're absolutely right, because when a lot of people just discard their crust, but like you get a really good crust.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Just that nice chewy, just sour a little bit. That makes it.
Yeah. So going back to Kevin, I know you guys had another head brewer before. So how did you know that? What's different about Kevin from your previous head brewer, and how did you know that Kevin? How did you find Kevin? How did you know he was the right guy for your operation?
Well, actually, Kevin was good buddies with Derek, who opened the place with us, and Derek was here throughout even a lot of the construction and stuff. So.
He was helping me with construction the whole time.
Yeah.
Derek put his time in throughout the whole process.
Yeah. So, and Derek gave us a great start with our business and everything, and I think he's got aspirations to move on and do a project of his own, and I'll let him reveal that on his own time. But basically, him and Derek were in contact, and when basically we were looking for someone to kind of step in, they talked to each other, and Derek recommended him and vouched for him, and we already were familiar with who Kevin was and what he was doing. We knew he was solid up and down. So
did you consider anybody else?
We interviewed quite a few people.
Do they have to like bring you samples of like, here's a beer I made? Do you
Sometimes they do.
Like an American Idol, but for beer.
You can.
Yeah, we were looking. We were looking for someone who, we thought had similar palate, who was interested in the same styles and the focus of styles that we were doing.
Right.
Who wanted to make these kind of crispy, and billowy, kind of sessionable beers that were rustic or had good hop character.
And it's not. It's not just about the beer. It is, but. I work with them side by side every day. Mm-hmm. It has to be someone that you can work with. It becomes family almost, and that's how Derek was too. Like, becomes family. It's just someone that you enjoy hanging out with, that you want to go on a trip with. Mm-hmm. You want to see outside of work too, not just like, oh my God, I have to hang out with this guy. So that was a big part in it.
Yeah,
just being like the personality, the personality, and everything,
the culture of the business. Yeah. I don't want to go to work and be like, oh man, why am I here? So Kevin, this fit the mold perfectly on to take over with what Derek started.
Some brewers want to put their headphones on and just listen to some death metal and kind of shield everyone out. And God bless them. I totally get that.
That's fine. Yeah.
And but when you're doing like such a small operation like this, and we really are, it's our families are invested. Invested in us, and our families come here. Our little kids come here. It's like it's very much like a small family business. Yeah. And so we wanted someone that could kind of come in and at least understand the size. And I think, in a lot of ways, Kevin has been in some great places before. He's, good history as a brewer and a kind of a leader in our area, region. But he was looking for a return, I think, to kind of more smaller, hands-on, kind of approach to brewing. He's been like almost director of production for these big breweries. Mm-hmm. And he was, wasn't even really on the brew deck that much. Probably, it's more of like managing Excel sheets and clipboards. And so, I let him speak for himself. But I think that he definitely is maybe enjoying the kind of like return to the artisan touch kind of thing.
It's got to be nice. Yeah. Yeah, especially I'm sure the brewery had like a giant operation at this point.
Huge.
Yeah,
24 hours a day,
And
5 days a week.
And he was there from the very beginning. Not from the very beginning. Maybe
He was basically in the
early
beginning.
on.
He was managing a homebrew store that they had,
right.
and doing other work too.
Yeah.
And he was there for.
he saw the whole growth there, and then obviously now they're at a whole different place, like taking in big private equity money or whatever. And so he I think he liked the size of the production, the size of
a little more intimate for sure.
He'd come in here and drink beer, so we knew he kind of liked what we were doing.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
So you guys are what, just 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, maybe?
What's that?
Are you guys here at your facility? Are you just 7 days a week? 12 hours a day?
Our tap room's closed on Mondays, but
Okay.
basically,
Still here.
So only 6 days a week then.
pretty much there's always someone here.
Yeah.
One of us is always here, basically.
Right. So Bob, you work. You have a day job.
Yeah.
I mean, how much? I'm guessing you spend 8 hours Monday through Friday at your day job, and then you spend the rest of your time here.
Yeah, man, it's a little bit busy for sure. Very happy to be a part of it, and just very passionate about what we're doing. So, kind of make it work. It's a lot of balancing act.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be hard on the. I don't know if you have kids or not, but the family life has got to be tough.
It's tough on all three of our families. We have, because we're working at least 6 days a week each, for lots of hours, and we're trying to grow this thing and trying to, make a difference and say something about what we're doing. So it's definitely a sacrifice, and our families are making it right now, and we're hoping that it obviously pays off.
At least you enjoy your second job, I guess. Yeah.
It's hard not to enjoy drinking beer, making beer.
Yeah. Your kids, I'm guessing, are still small enough you could shove them in the tanks and wipe them down.
Yeah, I look forward to the day when all three of our kids are old enough to start pushing a broom or cleaning kids or something that we can put them to work for.
Yeah.
But right now they're more of a nuisance of don't take that clamp off, or don't put that nail back in the barrel. So
how competitive? This is my first time to the Newport area and first time in Orange County. How competitive is it here? Because I know you guys have Barley Forge right across the street, and I saw that there are 2 more breweries coming, Salty Bear and one other. How competitive is the scene here? And how collegiate, because I don't want to bring up any bad feelings or whatever, but I did see the LA Times reporting on some contentious feelings from Barley Forge about you guys didn't have quite the restrictions that they did, maybe because you had a patio and they didn't have a patio, and how fraternal or collegiate, or maybe even not, is the atmosphere around here?
I think Costa Mesa is wide open.
Yeah.
Costa Mesa and Newport. There's plenty of room for a lot more breweries. There's 2 more moving in on this street, and a third one moving in half
a mile away, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Probably. They're all coming, and it's great. We're trying to help all the new ones coming in.
Yeah.
We also have a homebrew store that's
2 doors down.
2 doors.
So you guys are just coming like a little beer zone then,
Exactly.
A little beer mecca.
It's
be great.
That's
that's good.
In a way.
Yeah. So we're pretty happy about it.
We looked at this building, like we mentioned. JT was in this building working, and we started talking to the city about this space before Barley Forge ever opened. So we are a lot of us feel like Justin's restaurant was a mile over. So basically, this area was something we've been thinking about a long time, and we just came here because we thought this is the right fit for us and our brand and what we were trying to do. And to be honest, we're not really interested in any negativity around our business. Because
I'm sorry.
we're just passionate people trying to make good beer,
right?
And we can't really spend a lot of time letting that other stuff get in the way.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if there's going to be more and more competition in the industry, and people are, we just always hope that it's friendly competition. That's what the industry kind of always valued, and it's why it sets it apart. It's why I think customers like it as well. Without a doubt, our customers go back and forth across the street
all the time.
Sure.
And
it pushes you to make better beer.
I'm looking in the window right here, and I see one of their employees drinking beer at our bar.
Yeah.
So it's and that's just how it is. it's great. You know,
Yeah.
we never saw that there would be anything.
Our guys go over there and drink. I mean,
Vice versa.
That's what it is. You always want to have different beer.
Yeah.
We're excited to have 2 more.
Yeah.
So we even have more beer to walk and drink.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You have a little zone, a craft beer zone,
awesome.
which is cool.
We can't wait.
Get a couple, I don't know what kind of restaurants you have around here, but get a few more, and you have like a nice little entertainment zone.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, like the Orange County has been underserved and a little underdeveloped as well. It may seem different compared to Texas, but as far as like our neighboring places, like LA is one of the largest drinking markets there is.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego is one of the most developed markets around with 140 plus breweries. Like there's a lot more that can be done, and there's a lot of opportunities with for instance, Salty Bear that's going in here. Joe's been a friend of ours. He's been coming into our tap room for a while. We've helped him, in whatever way we can to try to get open, and share with him information that we thought was relevant to try to process his permitting and whatever. And we're all for like co-educating the market and bringing more awareness around it, because there's still like a lot of people that are not, it's still like a 12% or something like that of the of market share, compared to overall macro beer. So there's a lot of room still. You know what I mean? And it'll tap out somewhere, but it's really like we're not the person that we're all up against is the unsavory tactics of the big guys. So it's really kind of silly to see anything on a small level,
Yeah. So you guys have been open for just over 9 months.
Yeah. 10.
Speaking of that, I mean, just going bigger, like, where do you want Gunwhale to go? How big do you want to go? And I mean,
whatever the demand is.
Yeah.
We're not going to try to outgrow the demand and just push beer on people. There's demand, we'll supply it, keep on going. But, a family business that we can keep for as long as possible, and hopefully just be able to keep producing, pass it on.
We don't ever want to get so big that we can't really control the quality of the inventory that's out there.
Right.
We much prefer, like we mentioned, to sell 5-day-old beer rather than push beer out there and not even know where it is and how long it's been sitting on shelves. It's just
eventually we'll have to. We're working on expansion. We'll have to brew bigger batches, and we'll be a little bit older, but we still want as much control as possible.
So, Bobby, how do you know when the right time is to leave? How do you know when the right time is to leave your current job? I mean, you're working on video games now, and
I mean, honestly, I'm just kind of, focusing on what I can do. I'm lucky in that I can do a lot of the stuff I'm, helping out with the brewery for.
Yeah,
I can do it from whenever on my own time.
Right.
So I have to balance that. We're a very young business, and we'll basically, stay that way.
Yeah.
Until really we grow, and we can, we're growing, and the demand is there for us to go bigger now.
So at some point you'll be able to put that behind and just go forward.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Hopefully, anyways. Yeah. So any big plans for the 1 year anniversary?
Well, we have some.
We have a bottle release. We're probably going to
specialty bottle of basically like a mixed ferm saison with fruit
with nectarines
and peaches, and we'll probably have some other fun beers before then, for the party that maybe and
we're trying to get with the city to work to try to do maybe a little bit bigger parking lot, whatnot, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens or not. That'd be great, though. I'd love to have a big party, bands, and the whole thing. But sometimes the city just doesn't let you do certain things.
It's a downer.
But we're gonna try to have a lot of different beers on for that.
Yeah.
We'll have one more can release before that, and then probably 2 bottle aged saisons, one with nectarines, one with peaches. Cool. That we've been holding the beer since I think December, roughly.
Yeah.
So they've been on the fruit for a little while now.
Yeah.
So coming up in a couple of weeks, we're gonna start bottling them, and they should be conditioned by anniversary.
They'll be good bottle conditioning for a while.
All right. Well, let's get to the lightning round. I'll let you guys get back to your normal day. So, what was your first beer?
My first beer ever?
Your first beer that you can recall, yeah.
Or the beer that changed my
Well, that's different. I guess that would be different. But just like your very first beer, what was your very first beer?
Gosh, man.
I mean, you had a nice experience in the 90s in Europe.
Likes Moosehead, and it's probably something like that. It was probably some
which beer did you snake from?
some shitty, tasteless lager that he had in the fridge bought at Costco.
Does your dad like your beer?
My dad does, and my dad definitely likes our beer.
Yeah.
And I think he still keeps a 12er of Moosehead in there. But once we make a lager, then maybe he'll stop.
JT, do you remember your first beer?
Pretty sure Coors Banquet.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what was your first craft beer, or the beer that opened your
pale ale?
eyes? Yeah.
It was kind of like my introduction on that.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah, there was some like crafty like things when I was younger, and I was up to like exploring strange brands, whether it was like Red Dog or Pete's Wicked or whatever it was at the time. But like for surely, if we were able to grab a keg, I won't even say how old we were, but if we were able to grab a keg of a Sierra, that was like a big deal in California to like get a big beer instead of like a crummy Coors Light keg or whatever.
Right.
So that was like a cool deal to get a Sierra keg.
My brother went to Chico State, so I think that's where the Sierra Nevada came in for me. It was before they were super popular.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, brought some down.
Before they were on Friends and really making their brand known in the 90s. Yeah. So what's your perfect beer? What do you think your perfect beer would be?
Jeez.
Like a specific brand or?
No, just, as far as palate goes, like what's your perfect beer?
Mouthfeel would probably be Saison DuPont. Mouthfeel and just a great standard Saison that hits a lot of good aspects.
Yeah. I think something like that for sure, definitely like look up to places like Allagash and Hill Farmstead.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so open to so many different styles, but like I probably would enjoy most a Saison that is like well hopped, that tastes fresh and has like great, busy, lively mouthfeel for sure.
Right. Which is kind of what you're going for here is
try
the exact representation.
Yeah.
So do you have a beer that maybe you have in mind that you really want to make, but you haven't been able to figure out to make that palate work yet, that you're still working on, or?
Not really.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for when we get like this house culture really dialed in.
Yeah.
And we can start making more mixed ferm Saisons. That's like where I really want to go with them. And get to like where they're conditioned correctly and really dialed. I think that's
when you're kegging and you're force carbing, you can't really get that mouthfeel that you really, really want.
Right.
So when we're doing more bottling and more bottle conditioning, we can get that super high carb level. It's kind of what I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of your own brewery, what's your favorite brewery and why?
What about?
I mentioned some that I liked, around the country. There's a lot that I'm impressed by. I think, I'm a big fan of what Society does in San Diego.
Okay.
From everything from their hoppy beers to their some of their wild stuff is pretty cool too. There's a lot of guys making good beer around here. Beechwood makes good beer.
Mm-hmm. Noble's making good hoppy beer. Yeah. I drink a lot of different beer. It's really hard to choose one. Allagash is doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Allagash is really almost
I really
unflappable.
enjoyed that table beer they had a little while ago. Mm-hmm. They just do fantastic stuff with cool ship and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to pick one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just because it's between local beer and then stuff in Texas that we don't get.
Yeah. Jester King's very cool.
Yeah, we love Jester King.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's hard to get certain ones, so if I could get my hands on all I could, maybe of that might be a little.
It's hard for us in Dallas to get Jester King.
Is it?
Yeah, we have maybe 5 or 6 of their standard releases we get, but we don't get anything special. All their special stuff is sold on their farm.
Yeah.
And you got to go out there and, go
Kevin
whaling.
just went out there a month and a half ago probably, and Yeah, I can't wait to get out there and try everything.
Yeah.
He brought some back for them. Yeah, they're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah, I like Highland Park is also a brewery around here that does really cool beer. Definitely watch what they're doing. A friend of mine, Matt, over at Homage, is doing some really cool stuff in Pomona. Those are some. Well, definitely check out around here if you're looking.
Skirting the question, but yeah, it's hard to pick one.
All right. Well, last question: is brewing more art or more science?
Ooh, it's more cleaning. That's all it is for me.
Sanitation.
It's all cleaning.
That's why you have kids, right? Make them clean eventually.
I mean, it's a little bit of both. You can't. Yeah, I mean, honestly it's a mix of art and science, and there's reasons why you might want to pull one lever over another. In the end, you're just trying to get the final product, like a harmonious balance between all the different elements.
I think it's probably a little more science, just because art plays with it, but it still has to be so correlated. It can't be like cooking where you can just like, oh, let's put that in.
Yeah.
At the end, oh, let's put that in. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be put in at the right point.
Right.
You can't go back and try to like fix it after it's done. So to me, that makes it a little bit more science, I would say. And
I think it definitely depends on how much of a classical styles you're brewing. I mean, if you're trying to do Czech pills, you're not going to make a good one if you don't use the right water profile.
Yeah.
Right.
And, maybe the right spicy and noble hops and, all these things. So if you want to make hoppy pills or some kind of a California hybrid or that type of style you like, then I think you have a little more room to play, like what kind of hops might be in it or what kind of... And that's when the art comes in, is like, let's show something different versus like, let's just make the straight down the pipe classical style. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, JT and Bobby, congratulations on all your success. Wish nothing but the best for you going forward, and keep making awesome beer, please. Well, thanks for listening to episode 118 of Brew Bloods. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the good talk with JT and Bobby from Gunwhale Ales. I want to really give a big thanks to those guys. They were really, really nice when we got there. They spent a lot of time with me and my brother-in-law, Jimmy, just kind of going through their beers, explaining what they're all about. They gave us a lot of free beer, which was nice. Always a bonus.
That's good.
Really, really nice guys. And
that puts you in a better mood, too, so it helps.
Of course, yeah. Super laid back. Now, I didn't mention this in the opening, but they have a super cool tap room if you go in there. They got a lot of handmade. They did a lot of reclaimed furniture and stuff like that. That was my dog leaping on the couch. But they did a lot of... they try to use as much reclaimed material as they could, which is really cool. They have a really cool... It's not a giant tap room, but they got an open air portion, which is cool. They've got some seats out front, outside, and they've got their barrel room, which is cool, which is where we were.
Yeah.
And then they've got their main tap room, which was cool. They built most of it themselves. I forget which they didn't build, but most of it they did build themselves, which is awesome. Used a lot of reclaimed materials, so really bunch of nice guys.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, their bartenders were super nice. Just a nice bunch all around. I highly recommend them.
Should have scoped the whole thing.
I should have, but I didn't want to bore everybody to death with me just drinking beer. So,
hey, they might come to our account just for that.
Yeah, you never know. All right, leave us a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it, or I guess as it's called now, Apple Podcasts. It would help us helps new listeners find us, and we'd really appreciate that.
Can you get to Apple Podcasts through iTunes?
You can. You have to go to iTunes and then go to Apple Podcasts.
All right.
Check us out on social networks, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you have any feedback on the show, you can always email us at brewbloodsshow@gmail.com. That's brewbloodsshow@gmail.com. Or you can call us at 469-573-BEER. That's 469-573-2337.
Sorry, I failed. Tried to get some interviews in Las Vegas for breweries. As Marc knows, that's a little bit difficult.
That is a tough interview scene.
Yeah.
That's 2 years in a row we tried now.
Yeah, well, it was 2 out of 3 years, yeah.
Whatever.
So, yeah, I guess next time I'm just going to show up with a microphone and say, hey, guys,
hey,
I'm here to talk to you.
I'm pressed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we've emailed many breweries in Vegas, and nobody's responded. It's so strange.
I don't know why, but...
It's so strange.
I guess they have all the local drunks there that
take
advantage, so they don't need us promoting them from Dallas.
All right, we'll catch you guys next time for episode 119 of Brew Bloods. For Dustin, I'm Mark.
For Mark, I'm Dustin. Probst.
Probst.